All right, we're here today to talk about Title IX, which is a federal law that was passed in 1972 that protects people from discrimination on the basis of sex in all educational settings. When the law was originally passed, one of the main focuses was on women participating in athletics. It's why colleges had to start offering both women's basketball and men's basketball, and it's why a lot of the sporting events were extended to women in the 1970s. But over the last decade, the federal government has really started emphasizing enforcement of the anti-sex discrimination provisions in Title IX, not only in athletics, but also particularly in educational settings. The purpose of Title IX is to make sure that everyone can attend an educational institution without any sex discrimination. And the federal government defines sex discrimination very broadly, and it includes discrimination based on gender identity as well as gender. Sex discrimination includes sexual violence and any sex discrimination or harassment giving rise to a hostile educational or work environment. Title IX protects not only students and staff at the Yankton School District, but also third-party visitors to the school. It also protects people during all school activities, whether they are on campus or off campus. Now let's talk about some definitions. Title IX prohibits all forms of sex discrimination, as we've discussed, including sexual violence or other sexual harassment. Sex discrimination is the denial of access to educational opportunity on the basis of sex. Sex harassment is unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature, someone making lewd comments or whistling or those types of things. Sexual violence is rape or sex with someone who is not capable of consenting, or in some circumstances stalking if it's motivated by sex discrimination. So the Yankton School District has two primary obligations under Title IX. The first is that the district is required to promptly investigate all reports of sex discrimination, sexual harassment, or sexual violence, whether these involve workplace issues or educational issues between students. The policy covers all conduct, whether it occurs on school grounds, on a bus, or off campus during a school-sponsored activity. As I mentioned previously, it covers all Yankton School District employees, students, volunteers, or any third party on campus. The second main duty of the Yankton School District is to prohibit retaliation against anyone who files a good faith claim under Title IX. As an employee of the Yankton School District, listening to this video, if there's only one thing you remember from listening to this presentation, I need you to remember that if you have information about a possible violation of Title IX, whether you observed it personally, heard it third hand, heard kids talking about it in the hallway, saw something on social media, you absolutely have to report it to Kathy Wagner, who is the Yankton School District Title IX coordinator. Kathy can also answer any specific questions you have about the Yankton School District Title IX policy. You can also access resources with the Department of Education or the United States Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. For criminal matters, you can also contact the Yankton Police Department. And Yankton also has very good resources available through the River City Domestic Violence Center, which has a 24-hour domestic violence crisis line. The main thing to remember is you are a mandatory reporter. If you observe conduct, hear about it, suspect it, you are required to report that to Kathy Wagner. You do not have to conduct the investigation yourself. That is what the Title IX coordinator does, but you are required to notify Kathy if there's any issues that you observe. Now, you're all educators, so I don't really need to tell you how to respond to a student or a coworker if they come and talk to you about a potential Title IX violation. But the main thing to think about, of course, is to respond to the person with compassion. Don't act like you don't want to hear about what they have to say or abandon the person who starts talking to you. You should let the person who is talking to you know that you are going to be required to report the allegations to the Title IX coordinator unless you are one of the Yankton School District counselors who do have the authority to hold some matters confidential. You should also assure the person that you're talking to that they will not be retaliated against, and also urge them to contact Kathy Wagner directly themselves as well. The one thing to also remember, however, is that the conversation you are having is not confidential. In some cases, a victim who makes a claim of discrimination under Title IX can have his or her identity withheld and protected, but that can make it difficult for the Title IX coordinator to investigate the allegations. In some circumstances, the Title IX coordinator may have to proceed and not allow the confidentiality request, because the Title IX coordinator's job is to protect the entire Yankton School District community from sexual discrimination. So what happens after a report is made to the school district of a claim of sex discrimination under Title IX? Well, the first thing the school district can do, and this is done through Kathy Wagner's office, is take what are called interim measures to protect the safety and well-being of any alleged victim, as well as the entire school district community as a whole. This can mean changing class schedules, changing teaching schedules, allowing folks to attend off-site, and other similar measures. The key is that the school district will do this in a way that minimizes the burden to the alleged victim of the conduct. After Kathy Wagner receives a report of sex discrimination, she will do an initial review to determine whether there is a reasonable basis to believe that sex discrimination has occurred. If there is a reasonable basis, she will proceed with a full investigation and then prepare a report that will then be given to Dr. Kindle as the superintendent. Dr. Kindle will make a recommendation based on that report, which can then be appealed to the school district or to the school board, and from that to an appropriate court. The full policy for the Yankton School District's Title IX is available in the handbook and on the school district's website. There are also some great other resources in the Yankton community available to victims of sexual violence or sex discrimination, including the Avera Sacred Heart Emergency Room, Lewis and Clark Behavioral Health Services, and the Yankton 24-hour Domestic Violence Crisis Line. The key thing for you to remember as an employee of the Yankton School District is that you are a mandatory reporter. Your job is to provide the information to Kathy Wagner, and as long as you do that, you are fulfilling your obligations under Title IX. Thank you.